Thank you, Christy. I threw it at her on Friday. I went, please, can you please play this for me? And she said, yes, yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It was just perfect, perfect, perfect. So absolutely perfect at everything that we do. So welcome, everybody. I am Reverend Beverley Strutt. You all know me already, and if you don't, welcome again. And to everybody that's out there on YouTube land or whatever streaming platform you're on, we love that you're here with us. So thank you for being here. So thank you, John, and the crew. Isn't this beautiful? I am so delighted with it. And I just want to clarify one thing. I actually did not pick the color. God did. Seriously. You can ask John. This is no joke. He came to me with this big thing, palette, all these colors. And he went, well, let's have a look at it. And it fell open. I went, there it is. Literally, not a joke. That was it. It was like it took us 2.2 seconds to go, that's the color. And we didn't question it. Therein lies the key. When the miracle happens, just say, yeah, this is brilliant right here. And we went with it, went with the flow. It felt perfect, and it's turned out beautifully. Now, I've had a lot of questions this morning. So, when you look around, you're going to see that we are still in action. Unfortunately, 1 week is not enough to replace the cabinets, to do all the grouting, to do all these other things. So here, when you have a question, I have 3 answers for you. Yep, we know. 2, it's in progress, or I have no clue. So pick one of them. Just go ahead and pick any one of them that you like, and it'll answer your question. And I'm sure over the course of time, you'll notice that all these things are being taken care of. So anyway, delighted with the new atmosphere. And did you notice that we took the white block away that we so felt we needed for the slides? And look at them. They look more brilliant just as they are. There's this warmth, this texture, this love. You know, this is what we like here at CSL. All right. So let's get on with the show today. We always got to start with a little humor, right? So the theme for the year is Rise Up. The theme for the month is Practice Makes Imperfect, which is kind of a unique thing to think about. And the topic for the day is Imperfect Practices. Very interesting. So one of the first things that is kind of unique is that, isn't it a little bit unnerving that doctors call what they do practice? Just a tad unnerving. And then this, of course, is my favorite joke of the day. After much dithering, a woman summons the courage to ring her friend and sing happy birthday to her over the phone. Halfway through her rendition, she realizes that she has rung the wrong number and asks, why didn't you stop me when you realized it was the wrong number? She says to the lady on the other side, because, honey, you need all the practice you can get. It sounds like what my friends say to me all the time when I think I'm going to wish them happy birthday. Anyway, so last time I spoke, we were speaking about all the imperfections that we see when we do our practices. You know, we address this idea of all those that are going forward to the Olympics. Anything that we do, we're going to see what is not what we desire. No matter how good, we can get that 10-point, just that perfect score, and we're going to look and see that there's an imperfection there. Okay. Should we focus on all the good that we did? Absolutely. Should we stop there and go, oh, well, I received a 10, so I'm not going to do this again? I've never seen a gymnast stop. I've never, ever seen a gymnast stop. They will find something that they deem imperfect so that it can push them forward to try more, to expand, to be greater at it. And this is how we've seen the evolution of our bodies, of humanity, of all of it. It's because what is not quite perfect? It's perfect. Oh, and folks, let's just start with this. Let's say together, I'm perfect exactly as I am and exactly as I'm not. All right, let's say it together. I'm perfect exactly as I am and exactly as I'm not. So just keep that in mind in the background of no matter what you hear me say today. That is the statement that is right there. We never waver from that statement. And so here we are, we're focusing on the imperfections, literally so that we can grow. And that in our growth, we're growing the divine. We're growing that divine experience. This experience that this magnificent creative energy is having its way through and as us. So if we just settled down and we went, all right, I'm good. This is it. I'm not going to do anything more. I'm exactly where I want to be. I'm not going to try. I'm not going to see. I'm not going to expand. The divinity that is expressed in as us is done. It's stuck. It doesn't get to have any more. There's always more. There's always more. There's always more. There's always expansion. So we're literally called to lean into those imperfections, not because they're imperfect, but because they are this wonderful call to an expanding of the expression that we are as the divine. Doesn't that sound good? Isn't that a great way of looking at your mistakes and go, oh, that's just for the divine. It wasn't really me. You know, I didn't actually make that mistake. I was just acting on behalf of the divine because it wanted to express in that very unique way, that challenging expression of the divine, that, what do we call it? Very unique, yes. Interesting. There it is. That interesting expression of the divine. Yeah. You just made a hell of a mistake, but it's good. We're going to learn from it, all right? So this is what we spoke about last time, that in this action, everything that we're doing is not imperfect, but is actually a way to have the divine have a greater expression and expansion through us, because that's what it desires to do. It is not going to stop. It's an ever-expanding universe, an ever-expanding world, and we are the tools that it uses on this planet to do just that. It feels so good. It makes every mess up I've ever made in my life a blessing to the divine, so we can do that. And, do you love it when I say and? Because you know something's coming down the road. Something is definitely coming down the road. So even though we are perfect in every way, there is still, not that we're imperfect, but we do have imperfect practices. Not practices that show imperfections, but imperfect practices. Things that we do that are probably less life-affirming or less beneficial to us than what we should be doing. I think we all know what I'm talking about, and I'm sure there are a myriad of ways that if I asked, all hands would go up and go, oh yeah, I got one of those. I got one of those imperfect practices that I know is not beneficial to me or life-affirming to me. So I'm just going to grab one. Out of the myriad of them, I'm going to grab one. I'm going to use an example of overindulgence. Anybody ever overindulge? Come on. Nobody here has ever overindulged? Yeah. Okay. Yet this morning, up till this hour, just a little bit, right? So there's nothing wrong with indulging. Of course not. The world is a banquet, is a buffet for us to consume and to try everything out. It's all there for us. And then there's this overindulgence. Yeah, probably not as beneficial as it could be. It can lead us down some interesting paths and lead us to some interesting ways that we express ourselves. So maybe we could consider that an imperfect practice. And we look at our practices that are imperfect and we kind of wonder, what is the actual cause? Because with science of mind, we have this thing called cause and effect. It's a basic law of nature. So one of the causes that I have seen that will stimulate an overindulgent behavior, or what I would say an imperfect practice, is separation. Separation from the divine, separation from the truth of who you know yourself to be. Separation. You forget who you truly are. You forget your magnificence. You forget. And so, to fill that space between the divine and you, we fill it with a multitude of different things. And overindulgence in the things that we enjoy are a really easy way to fall into it. Anybody ever had that? Yeah, absolutely. And the thing about it is that we can look at it and go, and we can move through the experience, and we can move on, or we can get stuck in the experience, depending on where we are in our lives and what's going on. But the thing behind it all is still the separation from the truth and the remembering of who you truly are. So who are you truly? This magnificent expression of the divine. It is just absolutely wonderful. Now I have another thing, and this is, without a doubt, my favorite imperfect practice. It's kind of like an oxymoron, right? Your favorite imperfect practice. But it's the one that we do not look at. It's the one that we don't see with open eyes. It's the one we don't wake up in the morning with a hangover. Whether it's alcohol, drugs, sugar, food, whatever it is, all of our imperfect practices come with a certain amount of, remember what you did last night. All right? This one doesn't. This one does not. It's called negative self-talk. Ah, I love when I hear that. Anybody? Anybody, yeah? Anybody ever woken up with a hangover? Well, I'm sure we've woken up feeling effects of the outpicturing of our negative thoughts. Because our negative thoughts can take us down some really bizarre roads and holes. And especially when we're not catching it. When we're not catching those negative thoughts, it's just like, Michael Singer in The Untethered Soul speaks about that unwelcome roommate that just won't shut up. It's like going on. Well, did you do this? Or what did you do that? Oh, you shouldn't do that. Oh, you're not good enough. You mustn't do this. Oh, this bad thing's going to happen. It just is this continual narrative that just will not stop. It's this absolute continuation of the self-talk. And we address it, believe it or not, in that wonderful class, Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. What are you doing? Because you have to change your thinking. But first, you have to catch yourself. You've got to actually become a little aware of these thoughts that are running through your head. Even if they're not coming out of your mouth, remember, this energy that is the divine is responding to what, anybody know the thing called hidden beliefs? Yes, hidden beliefs. This stuff that is stored deep down inside of you that is the trigger and the fuel for these negative thoughts. So a lot of the times you're walking through life and you're just going along and you're reacting to things based on your negative thoughts and your hidden beliefs. You have to become aware of what it is. You have to listen. Who was it, Sandy? One of my students went, you have to listen. You have to become aware of what you're thinking. You have to become aware of what you're saying. And of course, so we have a wonderful way to do this, right? In class, we have these lovely things called affirmations. Now, an affirmation you might not believe right away because you want to claim a statement for yourself that is grander than your experience in the moment. But still, it's something that you aspire to. And here's the most wonderful thing about an affirmation. I am abundant with all my needs met. But, anybody heard a but? Anybody ever said a but or an if? Any one of those words? Because that word immediately negates everything that came before it and affirms everything that comes past it. So I'm abundant if I had a great job. Yeah. I'm abundant if I didn't have all this debt. I'm abundant if I was enough. I'm abundant if, but. You have to stop. Therein lies one of those negative thoughts that is actually lifting out from your experience the possibility of claiming you're good. Because you're claiming you're good. But, oh my God, I had such a bad experience in this and this and this and this, so this can't possibly happen for me. And sometimes you don't even say it, but you're thinking it. You're standing in front of the mirror. I am abundant and receive all that I need. And you don't even listen to the rest, but your head is going, yeah, but I remember when this and this and this happened, so it can't possibly happen for me now, because if it happened once in my life, it's going to run my whole life forever and ever, ever. Right? These are just great examples. Anybody experienced any of this? Yeah, just thinking, just saying. All right, so Dr. Holmes says this, which is divine. We love Dr. Holmes. He goes, we cannot change the fact that whatever we put into our mind will be reflected back at us. But we can change which is reflected. We can uproot the old and we can implant the new. We can neutralize what is already there. Yeah. So we can uproot the old and implant something new. Did you hear any one of the students say that? All you have to do is have a new thought. That's planting a new thought into your consciousness. You don't even have to dig up the old, really. You can just plant a new and turn your attention from this old, haggard, tired plant to this beautiful new growth that's coming up in front of you. And as you focus more and more on this positiveness and you start to shift your consciousness in this direction, one day, if you choose, you can turn around and clean up that old tree. But I guarantee you, when you turn around, it'll probably be gone. Because when it gets no water, no energy, it dies. Basic law of nature. This is all we're doing here, folks. This is all we're doing. We're using the natural laws of nature because we are one with it all. We're made of the same atoms, the same molecules, the same energy, the same carbon. We are all of the same thing. So why do we think that the natural laws of nature would not work for us? They do. And we get to use them. There's a power for good in the universe greater than we are, and we get to use it every day. Every time you make a decision, every time you make a different choice. Woo, there's the word. Ooh, my favorite word. Choice. We have choice in all of this. So we get it, we can change our thinking, and it is time to do that. It's time to change your thinking. It's time to stop giving yourself the talk. It's time to change your mind. Isn't it just so energetically draining every time you have to think about all the bad stuff that you have experienced in your life so you can justify not doing something really good? Yeah, that's what you're doing. That's what we're doing. Every time we allow these hidden beliefs to take our life and go, well, you know, when I do this, this thing's going to happen. Or if I can't do that because I know that this happened last time. No, leave the baggage behind. You know, check it at the wrong flight and take a different flight. Check it and then go somewhere else. You can do this. Well, it's a little more difficult now because TSA kind of like follows you around. But for the most part, you can check your stuff and a different flight and then take off for somewhere wonderful where you're going to feel wonderful about it. And Stephen Covey, he says, every human has 4 endowments: self-awareness, consciousness, independent will, and creative imagination. These give us the ultimate human freedom, the power to choose, to respond, not react, to respond, and to change. It is in us already to do these things. It is in us already to put aside our imperfect practice, to choose something that is life-affirming, beneficial, that's going to grow and expand us to whatever we choose to do. Will you have moments in time where you're like, that thought, that worm, that snake, whatever it is, comes up and goes, but what about me? Don't you remember when? When you make a decision for a shift to good or for something new in your life that you really want to see happen, Everything unlike it is going to come. Are you sure? Are you sure? Don't you remember that the last time you tried it, this is what happened? And you look at it, and you go, I get it, I see you. You can even do, I hear you, I see you, I do not agree with you, but I will kick your butt in love, out the door. And that's how we do it. We move on from that. And it is really important that we do it with ourselves, because if we don't do it with ourselves, how can we stand witness to others doing it for themselves? How can we stand witness to a world that really needs it? To a world that really needs it, really right now. So you'll notice that whenever we walk through this, we are always the microcosm to the macrocosm of what's going on in the world. We are in a time and a place, and I spoke about this last time, where we are going to be addressing and be accosted with a lot of what we can call unskilled behavior, a lot of things that do not look life-affirming, things that are maybe not beneficial to us as we walk out. But we have the tools and the power to at least work in our environment on us. And just like that butterfly beats its wings on the other side of the planet, so when we shift, the planet, the universe, this divine energy shifts in agreement. So remember, that is your greatest tool of all, is when you do your work, the universe says, I'm in, let's do some more of that. So this is definitely worthwhile your time to do it. So we want to be able to see where our practices that are beneficial wash out into the world. George Bernard Shaw said, progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. He affirmed right back then that everything starts with the idea. Even our creative process, that symbol that you see, where we talk about the seed, the soil, and the plant, the idea, the collective consciousness, and the manifestation. It's that simple. Dr. Holmes speaks about keeping your garden clean, because if you plant the seed of this magnificent seed, this new idea, into some really shitty soil, you're not going to get a really nice plant. So you want to get in there and do your work. Clear out these hidden beliefs. And especially when we want to hold this higher idea or ideal for the world that we live in today. It is time for us to make these shifts in us so that it will work in the world. It's really, really time to do it. And we really want to do it with our faith. Now you will hear oftentimes people go, faith first and then evidence. Or evidence first and then faith. Most people like to have evidence first before faith. But if you have faith, evidence is inevitable. Inevitable that you, when you have faith, will see the evidence of change. Because your faith, and it's not a faith in God, it's the faith of God. Yes. It's not the faith in what could be perceived as an outside energy. It's a faith of the energy and the power that lies within you, that is waiting for you to open that door and stand in that place of conviction, stand in that place of faith, and we need to do it now. Because if we don't do it now and we stand aside with everything that is going on in our world and we go, oh, who am I? I'm so tiny, I don't get to do anything. Think about a mosquito. A mosquito can make everything change with one little fly around the room. You can make a change by making this change within you. We need to do it. We need to have this faith. The other day I asked a question. I said, do you, and it was with a couple of different groups that I did this with, do you believe we can have peace on earth? Do you believe that we can experience peace on earth, that there can be peace on earth. You know, I got a brilliant myriad of course, yes, absolutely. And directly after that, I got the buts, the ifs, the what if, the down the road, maybe, maybe not, right? Which negated everything that went before. So immediately you say, yes, I believe they can if this changes, but they won't change. All of these things, no. Our work is to get to that place where we can stand in our faith and say, yes, I believe peace is possible on this planet, on this earth. I believe it is possible because it is through your faith and your belief that evidence will show itself. Without this, we are just playing into that collective consciousness that has a negative self-talk. I'm not enough. We are not enough. The world is a scary place. So why don't we just stop? We do this work because we believe that the power of the mind, the power of our collective consciousness can shift. We got to get on board with this. Because remember, every single righteous act, every single act of kindness, every time you stop that but thought, we're weighing the collective consciousness towards peace. That's our only way we're going to do it. It's the only way, and it is the time. It is absolutely right here, right now. It is not tomorrow. It is not the day after. It's not, oh, I'll get to it when I complete this book I'm reading. It is absolutely now. And Dr. Holmes says, let us learn to practice faith until all fear disappears, because that's what that but is about. It's about fear. It's about fear. It's about fear not in what will happen. It's also about fear in we are not enough. We're not big enough to make the change. Oh, no, we're absolutely big enough to make the change. But you have to step in all the way. You got to do it. And when you have those moments where you doubt, call me. Call me. I will stand in that conviction with you because it's important. So here is the call to action for today. From Dr. Holmes, he says, what the world needs is spiritual conviction. Woo! Followed by a spiritual experience. Of course. This is his words, and it's one of my favorite quotes of all time. I would rather see a student of this science prove its principle than to have them repeat all the words of wisdom that have ever been uttered. It is far easier to teach the truth than it is to practice it. So let's practice the truth. And I'm going to add this one in from our beloved Laureen Campbell. She said the other day, the feeling of yes in the mind must be deliberate. Yeah. The feeling of yes in the mind must be deliberate. You got to get in there. You got to do it. You can't be wussy about this stuff. We are powerful people. Know your power. Marianne, what do they say? Well, I don't know. Who am I to know this power? Who are you not to know this power in you? And then one of the big things as well is to take your time to sit back, to be aware, to give yourself time to lean in. Let your body and your mind and all these things we want to shift catch up with you. Take the time. Honor yourself. We are magnificent expressions of the divine. Love it. See your awareness. See your shifts. Love on your shifts. Go, wow, I didn't know I could do that. Oh, let me get a little bit more of that. These are the things that keep us going. These are the love so that we can be more empowered by all that we do. And we can love who we are as we're doing it. So I have this little statement from Mark Nepo, of course. This is in remembering to take time to see and enjoy the outpicturing of your shifts. He goes, in studying yoga, teachers of all traditions will advise students to be still after certain positions in order to feel the benefit of the pose. This is a great practice for all of life. In countless ways, we work so hard to get there, only to bypass feeling the deep rewards of inhabiting the space we arrive in. This is especially true in how we touch each other. We are often so preoccupied with the next move, or if there will be a next move, that we seldom feel the deep rewards of simply holding each other by treating each moment of touch as a consummation in itself. We can practice feeling eternity. This is the call to action, folks. This is what we get to do, for we are perfect exactly as we are and exactly as we are not. Thank you. So let's take this to prayer. Let's just anchor this truth for ourselves in prayer. So just take a moment to breathe in. And it is in this moment in time that we recognize the power and presence of the divine, the knowingness that this is all there is. There's absolutely nothing else. There's no duality. There is only one. This one magnificent, creative intelligence that is having its way in, through, and as every single one of us. That we get to lean in and be the tools for expansion, for this incredible energy, for this incredible presence, for this incredible power of love. I know that this is the truth of who we are, for it shows up in everything that we do, the think, we say, we feel, we experience. It is all there. It is the divine having its way with us. And so I know that we are stepping up for the divine too. We are stepping in. We're stepping in all the way of this knowing, of this desire to see the change, to be the change that is needed in the world, to lean into our magnificence and not shy away from the buts. Let the buts just dissolve. Let's stop our sentence with the I am and know that that is the truth of who we are. So there is a call to remember the truth of who we are. And I know that as we walk our path this week, there will be reflected back to us in everything that we do, this magnificence that we are. For we truly are magnificent in every way. So I know that this is our journey. I am so delighted to be on this journey with everyone, and we can all stand in this conviction of the truth together. So I just release this prayer knowing it's done, and we can all claim it together by saying, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you.